MeetingPoint for SharePoint works with calendars. These are SharePoint calendars, but they're special SharePoint calendars. They are MeetingPoint for SharePoint calendars to be precise. They've got a special structure. And the system recognizes those calendars and displays them when they exist in this drop-down list. Typically, you'd maybe only work with one or two calendars, but in this example, I've just got a bunch of them created. It's very easy to create a new one. You simply highlight this box here, start typing a new name, and press enter, and your calendar is created for you. So there's two ways of looking at the meeting dates that are in these calendars. The first is using the standard interface here, which is the administration or meeting organizers page. And in this example, we've got some dates already entered or created in the calendars, and the one on the 15th, which is the one we're pointing to, has what we call a workspace already created. It's a one-click affair to create the workspace, but it gives you a lot of flexibility, as you'll see in a moment. This workspace is the structure that stores all the information you need when you're storing everything to do with the meeting. And they are distinct from meetings themselves. Workspace and meetings, although they're used together, they are two separate entities. If we click on the 22nd as an example, we've got a meeting date because there's a highlight for it in the calendar, but we don't have a workspace yet. And this is what I mean by the flexibility. We can create a brand new workspace like the one you saw on the 15th, or we could copy the workspace. So if we looked at the 15th again, and let's just add some attendees. This is very simple. And we'll add a few items for the agenda. Just ignore what I'm selecting here. It's just to show you. So we've now got ourselves a little bit further on in the preparation stage. We've got attendees and we've got an agenda, and we could start that meeting if we wanted to. But if I go back to the 22nd meeting now, and I could either create a brand new workspace, and I would select again different attendees and agenda. But say you wanted to create a meeting that is near enough the same as the previous meeting you just saw, you can copy the meeting as it's in the same workspace. It's in the same meeting series, which is board meetings. It doesn't make any sense to copy meetings from a different series, but this is what the system allows you to do. If you had meetings in the same series that had actually completed and you finished them, you would be offered them here, but with a button called Extend, which means that you'd be able to extend that meeting. And extending not only copies the attendees and agenda, etc., it also copies the previous minutes, decisions and actions, meaning you can roll forward from one meeting to the next. So we're able to manipulate quite a lot of things just by working in this miniature calendar here. If we click on an empty space, we can type in the new meeting information and click create meeting, and that's another meeting created. Or we can go to our calendar view and do it this way, and we want to create a single meeting for the time being on the 9th here. We'll come back to the recurring options in a second, and we'll make this a London-based meeting. That's what we're working with, and we'll save that. So we've just created this meeting on the 9th. If we go back to our page and refresh, you'll see that the 9th is now selected. So we have a meeting date for the 9th, but we don't have a workspace yet. You don't necessarily have to create a workspace until the very minute or day that you want to start creating, preparing for your meeting. So typically you could create meeting dates for months and years in advance, but you don't need to do anything else. MeetingPoint will take care of the workspace arrangements when you need to start. So you click on an empty date, click on a selected date, and we'd click create new workspace, and we could generate the workspace with one click like that. We could start adding our own attendees there. So we've got lots of different options. If we go back for a moment and look at the calendar itself, we might want to create, say for July, a recurring meeting. There's one actually set up there already, but let's call this recurring board meeting, and it starts on the 7th. It's just for an hour. We could put some notes in if we wanted. Let's just select the bits and pieces here first, and now we'll make this a repeating event, and we can make this repeat like this daily. They call this a pattern, a recurrence pattern. Daily, every day or every 2 days, type a number in there. Weekly, again every 1 or 2 weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks, and on particular days. Monthly, either on a particular day of every 1, 2, 3, whatever months, or on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or last day of a weekday of a particular month, or 2 months, or every month, or 2 to 3 months. Yearly, on a particular day of each month, or of 1 month, or on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or last weekday of a particular month. We also select a start date. If we leave it at no end date, the default, then it will just keep recurring, or we can stop the recurrence after 10 occurrences, or by a particular date. And MeetingPoint for SharePoint will take care of managing what that date is in terms of coinciding with the last in the sequence. So let's create this one as a weekly recurring event, or let's make it monthly, and we'll make it the first Thursday of every month, and it'll last for 10 occurrences. So we'll save this. So we should see one on the 7th, and then we see one the following Thursday, following month in August on the Thursday, and then the first Thursday of the following month. So that's good. That's what we'd expect. And if we refresh this interface, you would see that those recurrent months meetings that have been displayed there.